I don't know what doesn't constitute a proper job. And where I work, I think everyone's got a proper job, from our tutors and our technicians and the academic staff and the catering staff in the canteen. So I honestly didn't really know what to say for this one.
I think that a proper job is just the responsibility to do something. The properness of that job, I think, is defined by who's touched by that job being done, whose lives are enriched by that being done, whether that's having your hair cut and your self-esteem being lifted by 40%, or watching a play and being inspired by watching someone go through a situation which is cathartic to you. So I suppose that can only be defined by other people and their lives being sort of made better by that job being done.
Looking at what's not a proper job, I would say possibly a fund manager, I think, is not a proper job.
I could talk for hours on a proper job, but I don't think I've got very much to add. If someone wants to pay someone to stand up and talk to them for 5 minutes or 2 hours, then they're clearly doing a job, they're being paid for it, or they're not being paid for it, but someone's listening. Pass.
Well, would you say that a proper job is doing something to the best of your ability and also managing to enjoy it and getting some sense of reward out of it?
No, I'd say that's doing a proper job. I think that everyone knows when they're doing something to the best of their ability, but from an employment perspective, even if you're not being paid anything, but you're benefiting people, making making them laugh, or serving in a soup kitchen, it's fine. Fund management is probably a bit dodgy, but
I think the phrase proper job's thrown all of us, because I think very few of us up here would believe we have a proper job. I've never managed to define mine, so I'd hate to try and define anybody else's.
But do you think that's a problem with the whole creative sector, that because actually we're doing maybe something we want to do, we don't define it as a proper job?
I think there's that combination that you end up, it's lots of different hats, so you're never quite sure which ones you're wearing at that time. But I guess, I like the idea that the amount you put in constitute it being properly done, which I think is certainly something that we think we do here. There's that commitment to it. But proper job is a very, very bad phrase.
I thought about this one in terms of aspirations. So when I was growing up, I was always told at school or by the careers advisor or whatever else, or my parents, that you need to go and get a proper job in this industry or that industry. And the decision that I made at a relatively early age to go into business with my brother, building websites and everything that goes with that, I think it sort of went against the grain with regards to what I'd been told was a proper job. Now, there are proper jobs in my industry. There are probably, I expect people to think of a proper job in my area being a large agency. And I think those large agencies exist in a lot of creative areas. But these days I think that's changing a little bit. I think that's being turned on its head, because a lot of the smaller agencies are these days able to compete with the larger ones. And that's happening through moving away from the sort of feast and famine approach and moving towards sort of recurring income and really nurturing the clients that you've got, whatever industry that might be that you're in. Leading to, if you can get to a point where you know that you've got that residual income, you're serving everyone well, then you can support your staff and build proper jobs for them. I suppose what I started wasn't what people would say is a proper job, but hopefully I can create some proper jobs for people.
You've made it into a proper job.
I'd hope so, trying to. And if I can offer some proper jobs to other people along the way, then that's a good thing.
I don't know how many of you guys employ people or have been employed, but most of us, yes. And for me, if you've ever been employed, somebody is making money off you. If you genuinely think that you are worth the money somebody is paying you, then you can go out and do it by yourself. It's that simple. you know, and hence why everyone in here is going out and doing it by themselves. If you are good enough, then you can do it. If you're not, then you'll fall by the wayside when you try, and you can go and work for somebody else. That's fine. Well, it is harsh, but it's fair. I mean, all of you guys are entrepreneurs, so, you know, big up to you.
I would make a pitch for a proper job being the job of an artist, which obviously doesn't sound like a proper job, but if you think about the job of an artist, what they have to do is they have to have ideas. They then often don't have any money to, you know, pump prime those or develop those ideas, and then they have to go and persuade a load of other people that those ideas are worth investing in, and then they have to go and make those ideas, sometimes out of, you know, papier-mâché, and they have to kind of construct something that other people believe in and that other people want. And actually, that's quite comparable to an individual business. It's quite comparable to people who have to make magic happen from nothing. They have to create things from very little. And I think that's a really proper job.
Yeah, excellent.